alábàárò orílẹ̀ ẹlẹ́jọ́.
àlùjọ ni mo fẹ́ gbọ́ kó kọ́kọ́ orí mi kó wú.
òun ńlá ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣe bàbá lọ́wọ́ ìmọ̀lá ńlá ló bàbá wa
Hi guys, welcome to another beautiful episode of Relufe Review. This is where we review the Nigerian art, music, movies, and entertainment in general. And like I always say, everything that you hear me say here is all my personal opinion, all my personal bias. It is simply what I think about the movie and nothing more. My name is AY with the double O, and let's get straight to the movie that we have for today. Today's movie is titled Ori, and this is one production by Muyiwa Ademola, and this is a cinematic production. I mean, Ori is in the cinemas. But before I start, I think I have to give all the accolades and flowers to Muyiwa Ademola because he did a fantastic job with Ori. Now, I do not even know where to fault this movie from or how to review it without, because how do you review a movie that is perfect? Because I used to think that it was no perfect movie, but with Ori, I think that this is one perfect job. Now, Ori tells the story. By the way, Ori is sequel to, there is an original Ori which he did 20 years ago, and this Ori is rebirth. It's like a comeback of the movie that he did. But I mean, contrary to what people think, it's not the same storyline. All he did is pick out some characters and infuse it into this one. But of course, still the same message that the movie is trying to pass across, where it's a completely different story entirely from what he did 20 years ago. Now, with this Ori, he still maintained the name Bisade, which he did with Ori back then. All right, with Ori the Rebirth, we saw Bisade, and of course, they introduced us to Bisade, whose untimely death was being put together by Yeye Fernandez, and Yeye Fernandez was played by Shola Shibowale, and she did a beautiful, beautiful job. I don't even want to talk about Shola Shibowale's character in that movie because it was 100. All right, so Shola Shibowale was his supposed mother-in-law, and of course, his untimely death was near. I mean, according to what we saw in the intro, but somewhere, somehow, the way God just designs your story, it feels like God is following you at every step of the way, and that's what happened with Bisade. Is the part where it was supposed to be sacrificed. A miracle happened somewhere along the way, according to something that had been foreseen, in another village that was going to be there. And somewhere, somehow, revelations start to pop up. But of course, he was able to avoid death at every step of the way. And that was what we saw with Ori the Rebirth. Ori here simply means your faith, like your faith. When they say Ori, is your faith, your destiny, sort of like the head where you carry come. Basically, that's just the word. And with Ori, Muyiwa Ademola it was just nostalgic, goosebumps everywhere. For where I watched the movie, a lot of people it was just so emotional. At some point, I was teary, and it was just a very beautiful, beautiful movie. So that's just a brief storyline, and that's what we saw with Ori. How your faith can just, life is beyond the surface that we see. Life is indeed spiritual. And this movie review contains no spoilers. I'm not going to be spoiling the movie for those that haven't seen it, but basically it's to tell you what to expect if you haven't seen it. And also, because I have seen it, I'm going to be giving a review of this movie.
So we saw Momi Dada, I saw Muyiwa Ademola in the movie. A lot of beautiful actors. Shola Shibowale, Femi Adebayo, Latifa Dimeji. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful actors. I can't even begin to talk about, how good this movie is. Odunlade Adekola, Yomi Flashland. So a lot of notable, veteran actors in that movie. And I don't know where to really start with this movie. It's not something new, but it's new in a good way. There's a way that a storyline is not particularly new, but you get to a part of the story and we're like, okay, this is something that I've not seen before. At every step, at every point of the movie, and it was a 2-hour movie at stretch. You know what it means to sit down for 2 straight hours and watch a movie without. There was no part where I had to eat or where I had to feel uncomfortable about watching it. Or I didn't think that and this is one beautiful thing that happened at the cinemas, because someone just said every scene is important. Because we all see movies, and the part where you're sitting down and you're like, oh, can you just jump to the next scene? And this lady beside me literally said, every scene is important. From start to the middle, towards the end of the movie, there's just that, you just want more. There's a way that some movies start to just go low towards the end, and from start to finish, this movie was just giving us that energy back to back. And there's a thing that they did towards the end of the movie where they brought a scene from the old Ori and infused it, and it was really nostalgic. I remember seeing the old Ori, 20 years ago, and I because of the new Ori the Rebirth, I had to go back to watch the old one. But this is one beautiful cinematic production, and I must say thumbs up and congratulations to Muyiwa Ademola. Let me get straight to the rating criteria. For I don't know where to start from really. For the plot of this movie, it's a beautiful storyline. It connects spirituality and versus reality, and it just tells that life is indeed spiritual, and I think life is just spiritual, and that's what this story has really portrayed. And your fate is your fate. There's good, there's evil, but of course your fate would always play its own role in your life, regardless of whatever someone is orchestrating here and there. We all have our own faith in life, and with this story, Bisari's faith is indeed everybody needs beside this kind of Ori, because this Ori would help you. This faith followed him at every point. This faith made sure that it did not just disappear from the surface of the earth. This faith made sure that he fulfilled his life destiny, and all of that. So for the plot, even the development of each character, from Bisade being, a village person, coming back to reality and what he had, there was just a way they were taking us from the spiritual to reality, to losing his memory, to just a whole lot. For the plot, I just want to give it a 10 over 10. For the theme, we saw spirituality, we saw faith versus destiny. It shows the struggle, of course, between faith and between fulfilling your destiny. It shows good versus evil. It just goes all around to say that, regardless of whatever evil was plotted against Bisadi, his faith really played out in his life overall. And I like the plot twist to how Bisadi's mother-in-law played a very significant role. As much as she was there to bring him down, it seemed like at every point she was trying to bring him down, it seemed like a step towards taking him higher. It feels like you're sitting high and someone is trying to drag you down. And at every point you try to drag you down, they're actually helping you get up. And that's how I would say that Shola Sobowale played a very significant character in that movie, and of course in Bisade's life. And it was just a beautiful performance from Shola Sobowale, from the acting to the directing to every part of that movie. Trust me, ORI The Rebirth is something that everybody should see. I cannot put it to words. I cannot really explain what that movie was, because there's a way that you also connect with that movie. I don't want to say on the spiritual realm, but it is something that everybody should experience. So for the rating criteria, I think I'm just going to give it a 10 over 10 from my own end. I want to rate ORI a 10 over 10 over 10 over 10. I think this is the first time that I'll be reviewing a movie right here on Relufe TV, and I'm giving it a 10 over 10, because that is how good and how outstanding this movie is. It's one of a kind. It's something that you haven't seen before, I can guarantee. So overall, from this end, ORI gets a 10 over 10. Now, to the things I don't like about the movie, to flaws, I honestly cannot point out any at this point. I can't say, okay, this is what I would have loved to see, or this is what I would have loved to see. Everything that I saw in this movie is exactly what it should be, or exactly what sums up a good movie, and there is no complaints from my end. But of course, if you have seen ORI and you have things that you feel like, okay, they should have done this way or that way about the movie, please drop it in the comment box. If you have not watched it, this is your cue for you to watch it, because we have rated it a 10 over 10 over 10 right here on Relufe TV. It is a must watch. Meaning what? Please run to the cinemas to go and watch it. It is still actively showing, of course, in the cinemas. Go and watch ORI. ORI is a masterpiece, and of course, it is Muyiwa Ademola. Of course, anything Muyiwa Ademola, it's beautiful. I mean, I've seen him in the acting space for a long time, but seeing him actually produce, it's been a long time coming. And seeing ORI is something that it's beautiful. It's a 10 over 10 from this end. Let me know what you think. If you have not watched it, this is your cue. I'm repeating it again. Go and watch ORI in the cinemas. Let me know what you think about it. And if you think I'm also being biased, you can drop it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. More importantly, if you're new here, and of course share with your friends and families, until I'll be gracing your screen again on another episode of Relufe Review. My name is AY with the double O.